So as we've seen the different college football playoff rankings week by week, and especially what we saw a couple days ago, I've been trying to figure out all season, what does the College Football Playoff Committee truly value the most? Now, over the years, they've said they value a number of different things, and it always seems to be something entirely different. It doesn't seem like there's ever one thing that they truly value over something else. And the same could be said about this year. They've been asked numerous times, what do you value when ranking these teams, and what helps other teams get the edge? Again, the Playoff Committee, they've said numerous times different things, but I don't think anyone really knows what the most important thing is that the College Football Playoff Committee looks at. Now, in today's day and age, there's a lot more you can look at than just the team record and who they've played. We have so many advanced metrics that really tell us how good and how bad a lot of these teams are. So today, I'm going to be taking a look at all these advanced metrics, and I'm going to try to figure out what it is the College Football Playoff Committee truly values when putting together their top 25. But before we get to today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel. So make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. If you've been watching my videos over the last couple of days, you would know that I've talked about a number of these different statistics that are available through ESPN. And if we take a look at a bunch of these stats, I think we're going to have a better understanding of what the committee truly values. At least, I sure hope so. We're going to start with the main one, which is the FPI, which stands for Football Power Index. This is a measure of team strength that is meant to be the best predictor of a team's performance going forward for the rest of the season. It represents how many points above or below average a team is. So if we look at the top 20 when it comes to the FPI, there are a couple notable things here. My biggest takeaway is that Oregon, who's the #1 team in the country, they're all the way down at number 6. Where you have Notre Dame that comes in at number 2, Ohio State at 3, and Alabama at 4. You also have Penn State all the way down at 9, with Indiana, Miami, and SMU right behind them. Now, when you look at the top 12, there's nothing that really stands out. 11 of these teams are in the College Football Playoff Committee's top 12. However, you would notice that one team is missing, and that's Boise State, who by the FPI Power Ranking has all the way down at 27. So when looking at this, it looks like the College Football Playoff Committee has it right for the most part, but it looks like they might be a little bit too high on Boise State. And it also looks like they're way too low on Ole Miss. Alright, the next one we're going to look at is strength of record. Now for strength of record, that reflects the chance that an average top 25 team would have the team's record or better given the schedule. Now when comparing these to the College Football Playoff rankings, this actually looks like what the Playoff Committee is basing their top 12 off of, because when looking at this compared to the rankings, it's almost identical. Oregon comes in at number 1 with strength of record, and they're number 1 in the latest College Football Playoff ranking. Texas comes in at number 3 with their strength of record, and they're number 2 in the playoff rankings. Penn State is 4 with strength of record, and they're 3 in the playoff rankings. Notre Dame is 5 with strength of record, and they're 4 in the playoff rankings. Ohio State is 6th in strength of record, and they're 6 in the playoff rankings. Tennessee is 7th in the strength of record, and they're 7th in the playoff rankings. Indiana is 8th in strength of record, and 9th in the playoff rankings. SMU is 9th in strength of record and 8th in the playoff rankings. Alabama is 10th in strength of record and 11th in the playoff rankings. So based on this, it looks like strength of record is what the Playoff Committee actually values the most, because these, like I said, are nearly identical. Now it looks like some of the biggest gaps come at the top with Georgia. They're number 2 when it comes to strength of record, but they're number 5 in the College Football Playoff rankings. You then have Boise State, who's currently ranked at number 10 in the rankings, but their strength of record is 13th. Now the biggest takeaway for me is that strength of schedule means absolutely nothing when looking at the College Football Playoff rankings. I mean, if we expand this out, look at the strength of schedule for the teams that are ranked inside the top 12. You have Texas, who's playing in the SEC title game. They have only 1 loss, but their strength of schedule is 32nd. You have Penn State, they're playing in the Big Ten Championship. Their strength of schedule is 36th. Notre Dame, they've secured a spot in the College Football Playoff already. Their strength of schedule is 57th. What about Indiana? A lot of people are saying they've locked up a spot in the College Football Playoff. Their strength of schedule, 65th. You have SMU, who's going to be playing for the ACC title. Their strength of schedule, 75th. You also have Boise State, who is a win away from potentially securing a first-round bye. Their strength of schedule is 86. Now, there's a common theme I see here when looking at the strength of schedule. A lot of the teams that are ranked inside the top 12, they didn't really play all that difficult of schedules in 2024. Georgia clearly stands out from the rest, as their strength of schedule is 3rd. A couple other notable ones are Ohio State and Tennessee. They come in at 26 and 28 respectively, but that's still not that great of a schedule if you're not inside the top 25. Now look at a team like Alabama that has 3 losses. Their strength of schedule is 17. You look at a team like Ole Miss who has 3 losses as well. Their strength of schedule, 31. What about South Carolina, a team with 3 losses? Their strength of schedule, 15. Texas A&M, who was a win away from making it to the SEC title game, their strength of schedule was 9. So based on this, obviously, if you have an easier strength of schedule, you're going to win more games and you're going to have a better opportunity of reaching the college football playoff. Now I get it, at the end of the day, what's most important is winning games. But what do you think is more valuable? Do you think it's more valuable picking up victories over some really crappy teams, or maybe having some close losses over some really damn good teams? A lot of these teams that aren't going to be in the college football playoff this year, well, they're getting penalized for playing really difficult schedules, and the teams that are going to make it in, they're going to get rewarded for playing easy schedules. Now this was something I talked about in my video yesterday. I don't think when looking at college football playoff rankings, we need to be looking at wins and losses. We need to be looking at the strength of schedule, the teams we've played and the teams we've lost to, and what the margin was there. Like take South Carolina for example. Their strength of schedule is 15. They've played some of the best teams in all of college football, and they have only 3 losses. Where you have an Indiana team, sure, they won 2 more games, they went 11-1, but look at who they played this year. They played a bunch of crap teams. Now, if South Carolina would have played Indiana's schedule, I'm guessing South Carolina probably would have finished the season 11-1. If you beat a top 10 team, that counts the exact same in the standings as beating an 0-11 team. So what this tells me is, if you play an easier schedule moving forward, you're going to give yourself a better chance of reaching the college football playoff. Whereas I thought it would be better to schedule tougher opponents, play a more difficult schedule, that way you can pick up some better wins that are going to boost your resume to reach the college football playoff. But on that, I guess I was clearly wrong. Finally, we're going to look at the SP Plus rankings. This is a ranking system that a lot of people like to use nowadays. For those that don't know what it is, it's a tempo and opponent adjusted measure of college football efficiency. It's not a resume ranking, so it doesn't automatically give credit for big wins or brave scheduling. It's a measure of the most sustainable and predictable aspects of football. If you're lucky or unimpressive in a win, your rating will probably fall. If you're strong and unlucky in a loss, it'll probably rise. I mentioned this the other day. I'm not sure if this is a good comparison, but for college basketball fans, I think this is similar to the KenPom ratings, where it ranks who the best teams are based on whatever data that is. So when you look at these rankings, for example, it has Ole Miss as the number 3 team in the country. Something else that stands out is Notre Dame all the way down there at number 9. Then you have Indiana and SMU, they're ranked at 11 and 12. It also has Boise State all the way down at 21. Oh, and it has Alabama ranked at number 5. Again, this is just some advanced metric, but a lot of people really utilize this and think that this is a great way to determine the top 25 teams. So as you can see, there's so many different things that we can look at when trying to determine who the best teams are. Now, at the end of the day, there isn't an actual way to determine who the top 25 teams are unless you had a 130 team playoff bracket where you did a March Madness style and you got your best team that way. Because at the end of the day, you can look at every advanced metric you want and it could tell you that a team is better than the other team. We have a 12-game sample size at this point. We have a lot of data points. We have a lot of different ways that we can analyze who the better teams are. But at the end of the day, it's just what you truly value the most when determining what makes a team great. Now, for me personally, if I was determining who the best teams are, I would take a look at who they're playing. I wouldn't put any emphasis on teams that are playing absolutely crappy schedules like a lot of the teams ranked inside the top 12. I would look at the teams that have some of the more difficult strength of schedules in all of college football and how they fared against those teams. Clearly, the College Football Playoff Committee puts absolutely no stock into your strength of schedule, and moving forward, as long as you win 10 or 11 games, it doesn't matter who you play, you're going to get in. Now, is that fair? Probably not, because like I said, why bother playing tougher out-of-conference games if it's not going to benefit you at the end of the year because you lost that game? Or what if you're in a more difficult conference and you have just an insane schedule? I mean, there are some teams this year where they played 4, 5, even 6 top 25 teams, and it hurt them at the very end. But there were a number of teams, especially teams ranked inside the top 25, they didn't play a single top 25 team in college football this year. Now, obviously, you can only play who's on your schedule in front of you. There's there's nothing we can do about that, but I do think the College Football Playoff Committee really needs to change some things moving forward because, like I said, a team that wins 11 games, they might not be on the same level as a team that won 9 games. Now, obviously, we're not going to be having a bunch of 3-loss teams getting in over 1-loss teams, but the Playoff Committee moving forward, I think they really need to take a step back and truly analyze different ways of determining who the better teams are, because based on the current top 12 that they're giving us right now, and the top 12 we're probably going to get on Sunday, I personally do not think those are the 12 best teams in college football. But again, that's just me, and I wanted to do a video diving into some of these advanced metrics to try to figure out what it is the committee really values. And based on this video, my guess is they look at the strength of record, and that's what they determine these off of. So what are your thoughts on all of these different metrics that we have to base college football teams on? Do you think the College Football Playoff Committee needs to do more, or do you think whatever it is they're doing is right and they need to stick with this moving forward? Whatever your thoughts are on everything I talked about in today's video, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. I'm posting playoff videos every day leading up to Sunday's rankings, so for all of your playoff content, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that confusing YouTube algorithm that nobody understands, but I do know it helps share this video and my channel with other college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all in my next video.